BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. Cool. And the margaritas.
All right. Class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
You know, it's peaks and valleys. You know, it can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trayvon Diggs, pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory. Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
we are back. It is Wednesday, 8:30 Central Time. Y'all know the drill. You're in the building with the Big Six Live crew. Professor O, Margarita Mary, aka Stargame Beauty. We might have to do some Stargame Beauty. We rebranded. Maybe we ought to figure that out. The other side. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. And man, hey, we're back to footballing. We are officially not the what ifs, not the what could it be's, not do we sign, do we cut, do we do this, do we do that, the entire nine. We are officially back in the building, and it's football. Man, we were in the space earlier, Spoon, and we're like, it's been a long drought. Shout out to Mama Wright. Nation Wright's mom was in the building. We were talking. She was so upset about a particular clip that happened with Nation, and she was reading the comments like, it's day one. It's okay. Be excited, but understand where we're at currently. Right. With that being said, let me spin around to my people. Man, how y'all doing this Wednesday? Professor, how you doing this Wednesday, brother?
You know, I'm good. I've been over here at training camp in Oxnard for 5 weeks now. The team finally joined me. Just excited, man. Anytime there's a new season, that like Christmas morning feeling, you don't know what's going to be. Like, it could be an amazing Christmas or just a mediocre Christmas. Hopefully it's not a terrible Christmas. But I'm excited because we got to see Dak Prescott healthy. We got to see some of our new rookies, some of our new free agent signings in action for the first time.
Yeah.
We'll kind of dive into that stuff throughout the show, but our first little dose of Cowboys football in 2022. And I'm not talking about OTAs, the minicamp. I know that happened, but it's training camp. Everybody's there now. Eyes are there. The media's there. The podcasters and YouTube community are there. So shout out to those that got a chance to attend. We appreciate the updates.
Big facts.
It's great, man. Cowboys football.
Yeah, big facts. My guy Cole's Cowboy in the building. That hat's fire. I told y'all I'm bringing the heat all year. This is week 2. Y'all saw the hat last week. This is week 2 hat.
True Brain hat next week for your guy.
No. Unless it shows up for the free skis. If it shows up to my doorstep for the free skis, then maybe. My guy White says, "Oh, next with the hat of the year." Man, it's so early. He said hat of the year. It's only week 2. It's only week 2. My goodness. My guy Jackson in the building said, "Oh, Spoon, your Mets." Grrr. Spoon just shaking his head. I got DA's in the building. What's going on, DA? How you doing, brother? I got Robert Roberts in the building. It is football season. Mary, how's your Wednesday going?
It's good. I mean, I talk a lot of mess about the Cowboys, but I'm so glad that football's coming back. It's exciting to see them there at camp. So I'm excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, yeah. You were super busy, and look at you. You made it. Like they got to
Made it.
understand. You juggle things and get there. Bring your camera down just a little bit. Spoonie.
Yes, sir.
No, we had a great time on the space. We had a great time on the space.
Yeah. Great time. It was great. Info from a lot of folks who came in and joined. We saw Skywalker there. Miss Mama Wright was there.
Right.
We saw West Coast came in, gave me some training camp info.
Give us some nuggets. Yeah, give us some nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, big time info. It's just a blessing to have football back amongst the Cowboy fans, Cowboy Nation. We get to come back together, grind it out, talk about it, just have some fun moving forward.
Yeah, and on the back end of that, Nathan, appreciate you over there on Facebook. You know what we do about this stuff. If you're on Facebook, we appreciate you being on Facebook. Rock with us. Come over to YouTube and Pick Six Sports. Hit that sub. We'll light up the chat for you, man. If you want to make that move, appreciate you, Nathan. And actually, a value customer at my shop as well. Salute to my guy Nathan. And let's not forget, shout out to our Chop Sports. Shout out to Dave Sergio who came through, kicked through with us for a little bit. We had a great time. Whew. Like, it's weird. Like, we're doing the show. We've been on it. You know, we wrapped up our roster series, and now like things are happening in front of us. And I'm like, I want to be like this. Oh, this and that, and this and that, and really get into it. So we're going to try to be very concise, if you will, and break down some things. So I think let's do it in the right way. Let's start with the pre-camp press conferences. Let's go that route, and then let's come back into what we saw today, and we can kind of get into that. So with the press conferences out the gate, we had some powder, right? Dry powder. What was it that Jerry? What was the Jerryism from him?
There's some dry powder in terms of cap space. So I've never heard anybody use it in that way. So new vocabulary usage. If you want to sprinkle in dry powder throughout your daily week, not your daily, but your week sometime, when you're talking to somebody at work, talking to the family members, and just say, I got some dry powder over there in the bank account. Might have to go out and have a good time this weekend.
I heard dry powder. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, if you watch particular movies, there might have been a pimp named Powder. Particular movie, if you know what that movie is. So it took me to that. Mary, dry powder with this salary cap from Jerry Jones. The Jerryisms. He's not out here. What was it with the mosquito? He's not doing that this round. He's not doing that. However, he is doing dry powder. And look, Mama Nix is in the building. Shout out to my mom. My mom, and of course,
hi, Mom.
I mean, Mama, I got my looks from you, Mama Nix. I got the looks from you. So once again, and Mama Nix, guess what? You still got to get that work. I appreciate you on Facebook. Go over to YouTube, Pick Six Sports, and hit the sub for your son that you love so much. Shout out to my mom. Go ahead though. Powder, calorie salary cap. What we're hearing from Jerry.
I mean, it wasn't a surprise. I mean, I think most of us. I mean, they've done this, several times where they roll over cap space for the next year and talk about how it needs to go to somebody who they have to sign. I mean, it's same thing over and over and over and over again, and it's BS, but I'm not surprised.
That part. My God, shooting out Mama Nix. And of course, I said we'll do, and Mom, when you're on YouTube and you hit it, we're going to light up the chat for you with all the fire emojis. Sometimes, you just got your mom on path. She's not used to this technology. It's okay. I'm old. Y'all, if I'm old, y'all know the drill. Y'all know the drill. Spoonie, dry powder, the Jerryism. What you think?
I mean, I almost went to the store to get me some Johnson & Johnson baby powder and just spray it all over the place. That's what I was thinking about. I heard dry powder, like LeBron, just like that. But I mean, I'm what Mary said. It just gave me a little frustrating every time when it comes to getting better. Stephen Jones intercepts it with I mean, they intercepted with the cap where the money should go to. The money's going here. We can't afford this. We can't do that. But on the other hand, we hear Jerry Jones says, "I don't mind writing the checks all the time." It just a lot of talking, but no action. And actions speak louder than words. Everybody understands that. So it just, it gets a little bit too much at times. So they need to kill that. Just be straight up.
Fair. That's fair. But, it's snake oil season, and if y'all been listening here a long time, Jerry Jones is the ultimate snake oil seller, right? And he's selling the snake oil currently.
I ain't buying it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get to that, Mary. Hold on. I'm gonna get to that. I got some on the back end. The next thing before we get to that, though, the next thing was Jerry stepped in a little puddle. Little puddle. That's no pun intended there by any stretch of the imagination. I just realized when I said that, things happened. But again, snake oil, Stephen White, OIL, not whole, snake oil. But he came out there and something about particular, the improper term for little people, threw it out there, and it spun really quickly. Jerry being 81, not understanding. I just go back to Des Bryant in that clip. Fix it, Rich. But, Rich isn't here anymore. So it can't happen. I wasn't sure how it was going to maneuver within the culture that we have now within social media. I thought me personally, I thought it really got a pass really quick. I mean, maybe that's because they actually played football today, but I thought it was going to be bigger than it was. I'll spin around. When he dropped it and things happened, it was rolling. What'd you think?
I mean, so these three got a chance to see it. I was listening to it live. As soon as I heard the comment, which was like 6 minutes into the press conference, I was like, wait, did Jerry just say this? And then I ran it back later on to make sure, maybe I just didn't misunderstand the context there. And I'm like, no, you said it. So yeah, to your point, shortly afterwards, TMZ released an article, and I was like, oh, here we go. It's about to take off. And it just kind of went away. So he did issue an apology and statement afterwards. So, that's kind of what you're supposed to do in that situation when you misstep or misspeak. So, salute to him for doing that. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, nothing Jerry says really surprises me anymore, just because we're used to Jerry being, kind of an eccentric person who doesn't have a filter, and you can tell the difference between when Jerry's prepared to say something and when he's just kind of going off the cuff of his sleeve. And this was one of those comments that I think in his mind, it was just going to get a chuckle out of the media and move on, because he didn't put any thought into the context and what he actually said. So grand scheme of things, like you said, Cowboys football is going to trump that, and we're going to move past that. But it was a comment that there's no reason to make that joke.
Right. Mary, were you surprised it kind of came and went, or did you expect more to happen? Just because of the Cowboys, the old star, if you will.
I'm not surprised it came and went. Okay. I just think that, kind of like what Matt said, is you can tell in the context how he meant it to be lighthearted. And, it was kind of, he was trying to be endearing about lace or whatever. And I think, TMZ's going to do their article, but once he apologized, it's no reason to keep going. You can tell by the context. If you hear the video, if you see how it happened, you can tell that it's completely harmless.
Big 10-4. Also, in the opening press conferences to training camp, Spoonie, right? There was some mentioning of some free agents that got up out of here from Steven and others. Anything stuck out to you that they talked about before we got to day one of camp on the field?
No, as far as Randy Gregory and Marvin Cooper, listen, they're no longer here. We know the situation that happened with Randy Gregory in the contract. We understand the situation. Well, the situation with Marvin Cooper, I mean, we talked about that before it even happened. But at the same time, for me, it was good that they brought it up. You can't hide behind it. It's good to explain to the fans your thoughts about it. But at the end of the day, they did replace the guys. Replace those guys with the drafted players we have here, like in Jalen Tolbert and in Sam. So, but Cowboy Nation, we're going to have to just move past that and look towards the present and the future of these guys making these, as far as being the replacements, and leave it at that.
Fair. Robert, what do you guys think about Beasley's comments the other day? And of course, if y'all didn't catch the tweet, things were happening. One of the guys off the NFL Network had said some stuff about Beasley where he's moving around, and some things were about the Cowboys. He said, I would come play with Dak, basically, paraphrasing. That's not verbatim, but basically he would come play with Dak. And I want to come into the comment section here because it was brought up. Beasley's unvaxxed, so, and then let me go here to my guy Jordan Harris, who said, oh, gee, what's the matter if he's unvaxxed? Well, there's a particular reason why Mark Cooper's not here, right, O?
Right. Yeah. So anybody who was paying attention last year, and if you missed it, you know, I could understand because a lot of stuff happens throughout the course of an offseason, but Jerry Jones made it very clear that he wants his players to be vaccinated because of the COVID protocol. He didn't want any of the players to miss games. Amari was adamant about not being vaccinated, which is totally within his rights to make that decision, but he missed 3 games because of it. Jerry Jones in the press conference yesterday made it abundantly clear that it wasn't so much if you miss time, it's why you miss time. It wasn't so much why
ability, not availability.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So the fact that his decision cost him 3 games and he also got another teammate, CeeDee Lamb, out with COVID because of his choices, Jerry didn't take kindly to that. There was a lot of animosity between Cooper and Jerry Jones, and it was abundantly clear in this press conference that when he's talking about Collins, Randy Gregory, and Cooper, a lot of his frustration seemed to be towards Cooper. And you can kind of pick that up based on his comments, which, to be fair, taking the vaccination part out of the equation, what he said is actually true, though. He said, when you get paid like you were paid, the expectation level increases. If you're a 7th round pick and you make a bad choice, okay, you're a 7th round pick. You're a bottom of the roster guy. When you're a core player that we're depending on and we're paying you top 10 salary on our team, we expect different things from you. So that was something Jerry brought up and went back into it a couple times in a row. Oh, shout out to Mama Nix. Thanks for joining.
Hey, real quick, as I'm into year 4 doing this, my mom finally found me. Fantastic. Everybody here for Mama Nix. Man, light up the chat with a bunch of fire emojis. Mama Nix into the 4th season has found me over here on this land and my people.
Blessing.
It's amazing. Shout out to Mama Nix coming over here and kicking it. And look, I'll tell you what, quick story real quick about Mama Nix. She's from Florida. Huge. Look, she can tell you, look, I'm not going too deep. She can tell you about maybe some particular parties she was at whenever, a particular Don Shula head coach was at and different things, or whatever the case may be. However, she met my dad in Texas. Okay. And growing up, not that my dad's not a Cowboys fan. He ain't. Mama Nix is a Cowboys fan. I'm telling you right now. Look, they lose. Hey, Mama Nix is like hitting me. Hey, I'm like, I know it's bad. It's super bad. She to this day has always been in it. Supreme. She could tell you, look, if she had a chance to come on here, she would give you the story about how I wouldn't eat dinner until she called me Danny White. That's a whole different stratosphere. Oh, yeah. There are stories to be had within the Cowboys fandom, within the household. But once again, gained a sub, and it's my mom. So I'm happy about it, for sure. Shout out to everybody dropping in. My God, Dom's in the building as well, too. What's going on, Dom? Appreciate you, brother.
Slim Pickens said, you're going to be grounded after she watches a few shows.
Hey, hold on. I missed that one. Where'd it go? Hold on. Okay, I missed that. You can put it up there. You can find it. I don't see it. Yeah. Easy, Slim. Like, don't dry snitch. Easy, Slim. Easy. She might have to call me up about Mary or Spoonie. I don't know. I'm good these days.
Hey, except last week.
I wasn't as bad as Spoon, okay?
That's true.
I wasn't as bad as Spoon.
Snitching, I mean, too.
Guy says Danny White's the reason I'm a Cowboy fan. It was in my blood anyways, but Danny White was my guy, Jack, for sure. Again, she can literally drop it in here and tell you I wasn't coming to eat. Either I was the man. I had 2 different personas. I was the man with 3 kids, and she look. I have a name. I was just the man with 3 kids, and I wouldn't come eat. Or she had to call me Danny White, and then I come eat. That's just kind of what it was. But neither here nor there.
Breaking news. Breaking news from Ultra.
I'm throwing it. Go ahead, throw it out there. So,
yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of a surprise to me, but breaking. Congrats to former Neville Tigers, TCU football star Kevontae Turpin, aka Turpentine. USFL MVP has agreed to terms with the Dallas Cowboys for a 3-year deal.
Hey, hold on.
We have a returner.
Real quick. Real quick though. We spoke this into existence, Spoonie, because we were talking about it. We were going through it, and I was like, "Well, we ain't signed him yet." I'm like, "Fair." But I'm waiting. It's time, and we spoke it into existence here. I'm double checking, making sure it's not. Sometimes you get these fake accounts out here. Not that Ultra would drop anything fake by any stretch of the imagination, because I think the 3-year deals is intriguing.
Yeah, I'm shocked
Right.
by that part.
Yeah, the 3-year deal is very intriguing.
Yeah, I see Aaron Dietrich's dropped it, but I don't know. I don't see anybody else yet. So maybe that'll come throughout the course of the show.
Okay. Yeah. We'll kind of stay tuned on that realm, because if it is a 3-year deal,
It's future.
there's a plan. Right. There's a plan there. There's a future behind that. And the one thing y'all know, if y'all follow me on Twitter, I be in the hashtags special teams matters all the time. And the one thing that I've been specifically talking about this offseason more is like, I'm tired of getting just, we drafted a wide receiver, return punts. Let's be better. Let's find a guy. And this guy, if you go look at Saban, what he does, he is a special punt returner, right? And so a 3-year deal, I think speaks a lot.
If that's true. Yeah.
Right. If that's the case, Ultra, if that is the case. But my guy Mendoza, our mod extraordinaire, if you can find that, drop it in here, let us know. And then we'll move on from that standpoint. Backdoor though here real quick, back into the pre-camp conferences. Was there anything else they kind of talked about? We talked about the powder. We talked about ability versus availability, right? We talked about the M word from Jerry and what he was going through and everything. Was there anything else from the pre-camp?
Yeah, USFL News just said it.
Okay.
A few other people.
So we're thinking this is legit.
I just DM'd a few people, so I'll let you know in a second.
All right, we'll find out in a second. But let's rewind though, real quick. Let's get back to it. Pre-camp practice, the actual press conference. Was there anything out from that press conference that we haven't touched yet that stuck out to y'all before we got to the camp?
I
for
thought
me,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Spoonie. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I thought the Dalton Schultz comment was very intriguing. So I know how Cowboys Nation feels about him, but Steven's comments were really intriguing to me because he said we tried to get a long-term deal done. We weren't able to do it, not unlike two franchise cornerstones, Tank Lawrence and Dak Prescott. So it's interesting because you don't have to say anything in that situation. You can simply say, we tried to get a deal done. We're happy he's under contract. We'll look at things next season. Hopefully we're able to do it next offseason or whatever. But he didn't say that. He said, I do think we'll get a deal done, and I think Dalton will be here long term. Just interesting. Just a small little segment of that entire press conference. But the way that he talked about him, comparing him to being a franchise cornerstone like two other players. And then he went back to piggyback onto Jerry's comments about availability, saying he's a guy that's dependable. He makes plays. He's always available. We can rely on him. There were a lot of endorsements there being thrown into Dalton Schultz. So I just thought it was interesting. And then shortly after that, he talked about Zeke. And he said, we know what we have as Zeke. Zeke's a tough guy. He has this grit. He's dependable. He's there to fight for us. But he didn't seem quite as committal to him long-term. But he was adamant that Zeke's our guy now. We believe in him, blah, blah, blah. It was just kind of interesting because we talked about it before July 15th rolled around. Is he going to get a long-term contract, or is he going to maybe be franchised? And a lot can be changed from now to next season. We may see Jake Ferguson step through the door. We may see Sean McEwen or any number of players step up, and this may be all, moot next season. But as of right now, it was just interesting to see some of the vocabulary thrown into the Dalton Schultz conversation because Steven doesn't typically talk that way. Steven's a pie guy. We got to make things work. Got to worry about the rest of the team. Him saying, I think of him in the same regards as two other players that are a big part of our team, and I think he'll be here for a long time. I'll be a Cowboy for a long time. It was very committal, in my opinion. So I just thought that was interesting.
After I thought about it some more, after you mentioned it before, I think that definitely means he's getting franchise tagged again before they get the deal done, but they're going to deadline make deals, and it's going to be like one of those last-minute things like both deals were. Slow play it like they always do.
It's very true. I mean, because, at the tail end of things, they could tag him next year and be under $14 million. So it'll be intriguing to see how that plans out. But back to O's point, though, right? I mean, very out of character, as he was talking about, for Stephen Jones to kind of have those comments. So, obviously we'll have to wait and see till next year, but intriguing nonetheless. It's a good nugget there. Spoon, you had something else from the
Yeah. Mike McCarthy. Last season when we all know Mike McCarthy came from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The media is not as big as in Dallas. And we know last season there was a couple of media people or fans how Mike McCarthy would address the media. It wasn't like you felt nothing. For me in this press conference, Mike McCarthy's a whole new man, and he's out to prove something. Of course, he slimmed down. He looks different. He was all, that's a big thing, especially when your team sees a goal that was made. Sometimes guys get inspired, but I love the part with the when it came down to talking about the penalties, the accountability of this football team, the things that they want to get away from last year, which hurt them, and the things that he want to correct. It felt like he wasn't just talking to us; he was telling us. He was saying what we're going to do this year. He was talking about being gritty and things of that nature. We all know after the Niners lost in his press conference, he had talked about he wanted the place to be more nasty, be more bullies. We all know what those things mean. And for him to say again during his press conference, and of course we saw just the first week of training, the first day of training camp, I loved it. I love every part about it. And to me, I think another year under Mike McCarthy, this team is going to be way better than last year. That's just my opinion going forward.
Okay. All right. So it's Kool-Aid season. We already know. We've been in the drought waiting, for some football, some actual on the field stuff. We got the teaser, and we just covered the press conferences leading up to camp.
Right.
We actually had some football on the field today. Now, albeit no pads, but we had some football. We had some live action. The one thing I want to start with is this. Just in general, give me the one thing from camp. One spoon, not a bun, one spoon. Okay, one. Mary, you already know. We gotta let him know, because if not, he's gonna run it up and down. What is the one thing from camp day one that you're like, oh, I like this. This is intriguing. Mary, what was the one thing from camp today you're like, ooh, I like what I'm seeing?
I mean, for me, it's no surprise. It was just amazing to see Micah Parsons continue to just flash in every play he was involved in. Like, you can easily spot number 11 on every defensive play. And
Year two coming. McCarthy talked about that too. Go right ahead, man.
Yeah, they talked about him being a little more lean, and how he's been working on different things. And like I said, he flashes. So I don't see any reason why he can't get better. And if he does, that's just scary for other teams' quarterbacks.
Indeed. Spoonie, what was the one thing from you day one of camp?
Oh,
just one. I know you're a smorgasbord. Just one.
This one. Jalen Tolbert's touchdown over Anthony Brown. I loved it.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it's being said that Jalen Tolbert may be the wide receiver number 2 come week 1. And anytime when we see that player come in there and go to work against the first team defense, it to me is a great thing. Why? He's going to grow fast. Some guys can handle it, some guys can't. To me, he can handle that, and I just can't wait to see more stuff out of camp from him. But today, I love that touchdown.
Okay, all right. And a little bit more than that, but I'm with you. Professor, what was the one thing from camp that you're like, ooh, I like this?
So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on. It's pretty early. Shout out to my guy, Katie Drummond, for pointing it out. But last year, very early in camp, we got a pretty good idea that the Cowboys are going to use more big nickel than they have in previous years. Day one, but they used a lot of big dime today.
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
It's interesting. So there were quite a few times where if you look at the field, you're seeing defensive backs all over the place. It seems like, we'll off the field, we'll leave that out. it seems like they're trying to find a way to get Kelvin Joseph on the field. They're trying to get a way to get Donovan Wilson on the field. Again, day one, we'll have to see if that lingers throughout the upcoming weeks, but that might be something to look into. Dime package is something that people don't talk about as much as nickel because nickel's so prevalent, but dime package is used league-wide almost as much as base defense. Cowboys don't use dime a ton, or at least have not over the last 5 years, but today there was a lot of dime personnel on the field, and it was big dime, so just worth pointing out. So I thought that was intriguing.
Right, and we kind of hit that on the space a little bit with, in our conversations. And the thing about that, you're getting 3 safeties on the field, and you're still using 3 defensive linemen. It's kind of how they approached it today. Sam Williams even going inside. So I don't think it should be surprising, only from the standpoint of what we talked about this entire offseason of what we kind of got and landed our lap about being more Abiba, more multiple different things. So early, there's some things there that's showing that. But again, it's day one. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it was literally Curse at the linebacker spot with Wilson and Hooker at the safeties, and you still had your complement of cornerbacks. So yeah, very intriguing in that realm. I think for me, the one thing, and Spoonie, I'm about to fight back some things, obviously, like you did. I'm gonna pick one. For me, the one thing would be, I think Jabril Cox. I'm gonna throw it on Jabril Cox because we wasn't sure. Would he be ready week 1? Then there was a different reports of he's on the pup. Oh no, he's not on the pup. And then man, shout out to the space that we ran before this. West Coast was out there today at training camp, and he said, "Oh, yeah, Cox was out there a ton, moving around and getting involved." So, for us, and we've talked about this a lot with this wide receiver position, who we just signed the wide receiver. Breaking news. It's funny, Mary and Spoonie, we did this, so, man, we had this little thing last year. Anytime we were on, people got signed. It was really weird, and it kept happening. And we were picking up that mantra again. So good vibes on the Wednesdays, going at 8:30, and we just signed somebody. But Cox and we talked about, obviously they added Malik Jefferson for some depth, at linebacker. But seeing Cox so early, day one, and being involved excites me. I know he didn't play a lot last year. He was the main reason as to why they ended up cutting Jalen, because one, Jalen would get rid of the injury settlement that was in his contract. So they felt comfortable enough to do it because of Jabril Cox. And then unfortunately, Jabril Cox played was it 12 snaps before he got injured for the year?
9. Not even 12.
9. Oh, not even double digits. But day one of camp, him being out there is like, okay, he's here and he's, doing this thing. So everything's in front of him moving forward, and it'll be very interesting to see how him and LVE compete and what this means at the linebacking core for us. So I like that. There's a lot of other things, Spoons, but I know we had a tip or some of this stuff. There's a lot of other things we like, but I'll pick Jabril Cox on that side. But now for every good, there's a coin. It's got 2 sides, Mary. These coins got 2 sides, and for every good thing, there has to be, we got to talk. Okay, well, day one. In context, we're not over, we're going to overdo anything, but maybe something in day one that you didn't like, Professor O.
I don't think it's hard to say because they're not wearing pads yet.
Sure.
The offensive line did not look good today. I know that they're not going to go full out and block to the best of their capabilities, but I watched Steelers, watched the Giants, I watched the Raiders, and I watched the Falcons. I watched 4 other teams because I was interested in a few things individually of those teams. They seem to protect their quarterback better day one than we did. So maybe there's a few things you could look at that. Maybe the Cowboys defensive line just went harder than other teams did. Fine. Maybe the offensive line went lighter than other teams did. Fine, because they're not wearing pads. They didn't want to risk injury. And we knew that Jerry made a comment about Dak specifically and about not wanting to do conditioning tests because we lost Golston last year due to injury. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just playing it safe. But in the clips, you could see Dak was under duress all the time today. So I'm not panicking yet. There's no reason to sound the alarm. We'll wait to see until they have pads on. But the defensive line either is phenomenal or there's not much to look at. So right now, day one, my biggest concern is the offensive line, which we talked about for months leading up to it. and today
True.
did nothing to alleviate that.
Facts. And just to curve some of the rhetoric that I heard, yes, Connor Williams was the number one left guard today. However,
McGovern, you mean?
I'm sorry, McGovern. Sorry, yes, McGovern. McGovern was number one today, and I saw people going off on that. Tyler Smith had a ton of reps with the ones at left guard, so let's not read too much into that. Let's not get overzealous, if you will, about that. They're just getting through things, and we'll see what happens. But it was intriguing how I saw McGovern was out there first at left guard, and people were like, "Oh my God, well, Tyler!" But then Tyler got in there. We saw him mix it up, and he went a lot against Sam Williams from everything that I read and got to talk to some people about. Stonewall, for what it's worth, Sam. Obviously, he's a rookie. We understand that, but held his own against that. But the offensive line, for sure.
I do want to point out one guy real quick before we move off offensive line. Tyler Biadasz looked good today. Like, he looked mobile today. So there were a few times in screens where he got out there quickly, which maybe that's Duke Manyweather doing his thing. Anybody that he touches suddenly gets better. I don't know. But he looked pretty good. So a lot of the pressure was coming from the outside, specifically at the tackle spot. But overall, I thought the two guards in the center combo, the interior of the offensive line, pretty good.
Okay. And of course, Tyron Smith said the strongest he's been in years. We've talked about this a ton. Everybody's in the best shape of their life right now. Everybody. It is. The one thing I will say when it comes to Tyron Smith is he did deal with the stinger. So yes, I'm sure he's much stronger than he was last season. The key point in that is how long does he stay that way and what we look at. But we've talked about this a ton leading up, whether it's the spaces or on the shows here, about the number one thing during this camp is how does this offensive line come together? And day one, from our guy Professor O says, needs to be better. Time to see, though. Time to see. Mary, the one thing that you didn't really care for today in camp.
I mean, it's something I've been complaining about for a long time. I don't care what anybody says. I know there's some potential, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not happy with the wide receivers. Like, I don't think it's enough. I just don't.
We just signed one, Mary. We just signed a wide receiver. Come on.
Well, I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. But it's very, I like Jalen Tolbert too. I actually liked the Washington signing when we signed him. But I just feel like you get rid of Amari Cooper, which I'm completely fine with. I'm cool with that. I don't like the way they handled it, but whatever. I understand. I'm fine with that. So you got CeeDee Lamb. You want him in the number one role. I get that, obviously. Gallup, you've known is injured. And they keep saying he's going to come back week 2, week 3. I don't believe that. Okay. I think that's a lie. It's a complete lie.
Okay.
And so then you got James Washington, who missed OTAs, with his injury. He was kind of hobbling a little bit today. They're being cautious about it. And then you got Jalen Tolbert, who, is a rookie and who they've said, will have a huge chance to start the first game, which, okay, hopefully he does well, but you shouldn't be putting that on him. Like a rookie third rounder, first game of his NFL career, you expect him to start. And if he doesn't do well, then it's like the world's falling down when you should have gotten someone. You had all offseason to get somebody who you could know who has produced in the NFL, who is going to be healthy, who we will have until Gallup comes back. And you kind of just ignored it. And I'm just irritated. And if somebody goes down, we're F word.
10-4. I mean, look. We don't have the segment tonight if I object, but boy, Mary, I had to bring it up for you real quick
because I'm very passionate about this.
Yeah, you're banging the gavel right now on this wide receiver position. That's okay. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. Spoonie. Oh, somebody got a dog in the background. I like it. Spoonie.
Yeah.
The one thing from camp, you're like, okay.
Not James Washington. He was on fire with that one, but James Washington was my pick. We have to. We listen. I know it was said today that Gallup's on the fourth quarter. I don't know what that means. Is how many games? I don't know what the fourth quarter means. I know what the fourth quarter means in football. It's the last quarter, but what does the fourth quarter mean in Gallup's injury? That's something that we still waiting on. We all know they're gonna announce it when he's ready. But how long is that? So we have to envision him not being here. And right now it's CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert, 1 and 2 as of right now, the way we see it. But Washington is a veteran receiver that it was said, yes, a lot wasn't going on for him in Pittsburgh. Possibly the quarterback situation wasn't good for him. But now you in Big D, you in Dallas. And we've had the minor injuries with you at minicamp, and today was said the same thing. I don't know how long the injury is, what type of injury it is, but those are the type of things where it's going to tell the coaching staff we cannot depend on him moving forward. And especially where if we're gonna miss Gallup for a couple of games, we need you there. We need you here, because right after CeeDee Lamb, Tolbert, and Washington, it's pretty much was up in the air, and we still don't know. So it's just a thing where they're gonna have to really take that wide receiver position seriously. And when it comes to Washington, he's gonna have to make every opportunity matters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 10-4. I got D.A. Lee. He was loving it, Mary. It says, preach, Mary. However, we appreciate you on Facebook. I see a little Facebook emblem. You know what you could do? You know what you could do? You could go to YouTube, type in Pick 6 Sports, hit that sub like Mama Nix did earlier, and we're going to light up the chat with fire emojis. Come over there and hit that sub for us on the other side, brother. We appreciate you. But go ahead, Mary. He said preach, Mary, about that wide receiver. Go right ahead.
I mean, and I wouldn't be saying this if maybe they had re-signed Cedric Wilson or something like that. But you got to think, like I said, we had a game where we missed. We didn't have CD one game. We didn't have Amari. They were both missing, and our offense just super struggled. And that can easily happen again, and we won't be ready for it again. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, but we knew what this was before we got there, right? Yeah. We knew, and we talked about this extensively about like 3 episodes ago. We were doing wide receiver breakdown, and we got into it. Interesting that if they did sign a guy, I know, you're checking with a guy that we might have as a guest on Friday's show from the mothership, and we'll see what we get on the back end on that with the wide receiver we possibly just signed. The 3-year deal to me is very important. But back to your point, Spoon, with Washington, and McCarthy had something to say about that. Very judicious. I forgot the exact term he used. It wasn't judicious. But they were going to be very cautious, I think is maybe the term that they said with him. And they even, as I was talking about earlier about Jabril Cox, like cautious, with them moving forward. The big thing in one of the clips that everybody saw today, obviously, was Washington beat Nation right deep. And they missed on the connection, if you will. They missed on the connection. And then maybe he was a little hobbled, things are happening, and it moved through there. So it's like, one side, when we talk about these wide receivers, be excited about Tolbert. For day one, right? Everything that we thought about Tolbert, or we heard, and what they believed, and we talked about this on air. He's going to be the number 2. They came out and said it already, and he's walked through the door and showed that day one. Right. The other side of things that we've talked about here, though, that's great. But Gallup's out, and what's Washington doing? Because if Washington has a problem injury-wise, who's the next guy up? Are we talking about Noah Brown, ladies and gentlemen? It gets a little scary, and that's where Mary, I feel where you're coming from in that standpoint of, man, if Washington's not a go, little scary, But maybe they signed a guy, and we'll see. That's the good and the bad. Overall, and I'll pivot to this when it comes to this. Anthony Brown, good day at camp today. Yeah. Had some pass breakups, 2-minute warning, pick 6 to the house. I saw some other clips where, and I like this from Trayvon Diggs, wasn't picks, but he was just dirty in routes and undercutting people, and there's some guys trying to put some double moves on him, and we saw some development there. So from the cornerbacks, let me get there, Professor O. What do you think about the cornerbacks today?
I thought J-Lu stood out. Anthony Brown, from what we read and know, had a really good day. Not only did he have the pick 6 on the first play of 2-minute drill, so ended it as soon as it started, but he also had multiple PBUs today. So that's always a good thing. We did see Jay Lou look active too. He looked quick. I don't know if it's the number change. Maybe just seeing him with number 2.
Yep.
If you haven't paid attention, by the way,
Oh, see, like I was wondering who that was. I was like, wait, who's number? Like,
Yeah.
Kelvin Joseph's number 1, Jordan Lewis is number 2, and Anthony Brown's number 3, and then obviously Diggs is number 7. So we have a lot of single digits now. So just keep an eye on that in preseason. But
so if we get the backup quarterback, that there were like 20.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Jay Lou was all over the place. So I was impressed by him. Really, the only clip I saw of Wright was when he got beaten by Washington, but he was able to recover and was close enough that had he made the catch, he would have been able to tag him because he had to dive for it anyways. So he would have still been able to be there. He didn't get like torched or anything, but he definitely got beat. But overall, the defensive backs look pretty solid from what I saw. They were active, which is I think Joe Witt and Al Harris are doing a good job of coaching them up because they're aggressive at the line of scrimmage. They're also aggressive when the ball's in the air, not only in just attacking it to try to pick the ball off, but also to forcing completions. And we saw that today. So overall, I thought they looked pretty good.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about this on the Space Spoon. Prototypically, when you get to training camp, defenses start quicker than offenses. No slight to what Dan Quinn's going to build. But it just in my head, I just remember 2 years ago, and when Mike Nolan was here, and boy, the first week of camp, this defense. This defense, guys, we're telling you right now, they're out here putting in that work, and oh my God, they're beating the offense, blah, blah, blah. And then we got to the regular season, and it was the worst defense in, Cowboys history, and has a ranking, NFL-wise in the history. But neither here nor there, I do buy into the Quinn and what he's doing. The cornerbacks, we've talked about this before, as you were bringing up Jay Lou, what was happening with him, Brown and what he did. Like it's weird. Like people want to get him up out of here, especially Anthony Brown. But we talked about this a ton. Yeah. If you really exit the Raiders Thanksgiving in the opening night in Tampa, what he gave you last year versus as a DB2, as a cornerback 2, it's fantastic. Like we got to get off the sauce, if you will, of trying to get these guys up out of here, because the one position that I feel great about is the top 3 cornerbacks. Y'all feel the same?
Yeah, no, I do. And I think that's one of the things, too, going back to Kelvin Joseph. A lot of Cowboys fans are frustrated that he's not playing more. I think, if anything, that's just a credit to what Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis did last year. Jordan Lewis was one of the better slot cornerbacks in the NFL, and Anthony Brown was a serviceable, at worst, cornerback last year. He was pretty good for the most part. He's kind of the opposite of Jay Lou, which is interesting. Jay Lou has 1 or 2 games a year where he's phenomenal, and then the rest of the year, he's consistent. Brown was pretty good most of the year and has 2 games where he's really bad. And those games stick out to people.
Yeah, those are the 2 that everyone remembers.
Yeah, so I thought he played pretty well. Overall, I mean, Anthony Brown's just kind of the whipping boy to Cowboys fans. Like, he and Connor Williams were the 2 guys. If all else is going well, we're going to kill these 2 guys. We're just going to crush them. They're terrible. They have to go. But he's a guy that shows he can play inside or outside, which is good when you have position flex. He doesn't cost a ton of money and was pretty good last year. So, yeah, I don't know why fans kind of feel this way about him and think that he was, victimized all season long. But I thought more often than not, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, shouts our God Dom in the building. Shouts our God Dom, mod extraordinaire as well. Says, it's been lonely being a defender on the Anthony Brown hill. Welcome to the family. Here we are. Yeah. Big hugs. Big hugs over here. Big hugs. You're amongst friends, sir. You're amongst friends, if you will. But yeah, man.
AB got a pick 6 today.
Yeah, Haley said, didn't he get an interception? Well, we saw that last year too, though. He's not a guy who's just right place, right time. The ball happens to fall in his lap. He breaks on the ball. He'll make plays on the football and can house it. So he's a fast back. He was a 4.3 guy in college. Coming out, and he's still able to make plays. So, yeah, I think Cowboys fans need to embrace the idea of Anthony Brown being a cornerback on your roster.
I'll address this real quick. I'll address this real quick because the comments that you put up here are trash. Like, hey, cool. To be clear, Eastside, you're running our numbers up from viewership, so we appreciate you. You know what I mean? So be in the building, run our numbers up. It's fine. We'll allow you to run the numbers up. But you're just not getting no love, Playboy. It just is what it is. Look, I got the Texas hat on, but be clear. There's only one team in Texas. It's the Cowboys.
Yeah. There's
Got the
only
little
one,
bros
no
down
one
there in
cares.
Houston.
No one cares about.
Nobody
the
cares about
Texans.
y'all. But by all means, appreciate the sub. Appreciate you coming through and checking in on us. Outside of that, you just don't get no love here on the screen. And on that note, peace.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Go ahead, Spoon.
Oh, no, I wanted to add two names. They should get credit for Anthony Brown's the whole secondary, Joe Witt and Al Harris. Those are names that nobody really talks about. Joe Witt came from Green Bay. I remember a couple of years ago when he was announced to go to with the Cowboys. I tweeted to Charles Woodson to ask about Joe Witt, and he came out and said Joe Witt should have been a defensive coordinator a long time ago. But we could definitely see how the secondary, like Anthony Brown, Diggs, these guys getting better. Also, Al Harris, formerly from Green Bay. We know Al Harris was that pest on the defense for opposing offenses, and he has put away games with a pick and things like that. So, this secondary, in my opinion, they finally get some real experienced coaches. Like I said before, not friends of friends or family, some real guys who have some good experience, coaches who have coached some of the best in the game. And now these young guys get the opportunity to learn from these coaches, from this coaching staff, that definitely will make their careers much better.
Yeah, big facts. I think the biggest thing about camp today, no injuries, no significant injuries, and that's really what we talk about a lot. Yeah, hold on, knock on all the wood. The wood. The one thing that you want to be able to do is get through training camp without major injuries. And you know what? Day one, mission accomplished. Now, if you work somewhere, how many days without incident? Hey, we got one. All right, and let's run that number up through the entirety of this camp of no injuries as we move forward. The other thing I want to bring up about this camp and what's happening so far, prior, I guess it was about like 5 or 6 days before camp, they said they wasn't going to allow Dak to throw really heavy downfield in camp because of what happened last year. Today, they ran a ton of 12 personnel. They were almost exclusively in 12 personnel. And outside of the James Washington throw where it missed, you'll be hard pressed to find another clip of any throw that deep. Threw a lot to the tight ends as well. Do you think that's a check mark? Tober was an out though. It wasn't really deep.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that kind of motion, if you will. So, do you think are we buying or selling? They're limiting Dak into the we're not going to let you go out here and just rip it down the field, guys. Just as day one, I'm just saying.
I think just starting out, like they're gonna just slow play it. That's what. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think they're just gonna ease him into it. There's no reason to open up the playbook and risk injury, even if it's a small thing like a shoulder strain or muscle strain. We saw how long that lingered last year. I think they're just gonna kind of play it safe. We did see a lot of 12 personnel, which I thought was interesting. Some of the wide receiver groupings were interesting today too. Which
that's true.
Maybe we can touch about that later. But Noah Brown don't fit a lot. A lot more than I expected. So I thought that was worth noting. Again, Gallup's out, so maybe that plays into it. But he played more snaps than I expected. We saw a lot of passes to the running backs this year, today at least I should say, which is something that we talked about coming into the season. And we're going to utilize Tony Pollard. He's going to be this quasi wide receiver. We didn't see that today. Maybe that's something we'll see later on, or maybe they're gonna pocket that and show it in the regular season. But there were a lot of passes to the running backs. We saw Rico Dowdle back in action, and we saw Zeke and Pollard catching passes, and they weren't all just dump offs in the flat. They actually used them on routes, which was interesting. I do want to point out too, pay attention if you look at Rico looked pretty good.
Rico looks good. Yeah.
Pay attention to the amount of pre-snap motion. There was a lot today. A lot more than what we've seen in years past, especially this early in the camp. So maybe that's something Kellen's had a realization that we need to add that to the playbook and not just use it to test if they're in man or zone. But day one, there was a lot of pre-snap motion, so I'm intrigued for that tomorrow.
It's interesting he brought up Tony Pollard. I was just looking at a tweet from Patrick Walker. It came out about 18 minutes ago. And Tony Pollard was on DFW Ticket, and he was asked about playing out of the slot more in 2022. And his specific words were, "Yeah, just been on the field a lot more this year, trying to get me and Zeke involved on the field at the same time. We have to make that work." Does Tony Pollard like the Cowboys sets that put him on the field with Zeke at the same time? Yes. So that's supposedly something they've talked about more in-house.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see if that actually happens in more of these practices and if it actually happens on a consistent basis in the season.
Can I, as we're talking about these things, and I just had something hit my inbox. Can I kind of pivot real quick?
Oh.
All right. And look, I'm not saying this is, take it to the bank or nothing else. I'm just going to tell you what was dropped on me. Was this. Word inside Cowboys land is Tyler Smith has Larry Allen's strength. It says he might not bench 700 pounds, but will move dudes out of the way no problem. For what it's worth. Just got dropped on me via Nick Eatman, if you will. But, I mean, we'll see. It's something to be excited about.
He looked great today, by the way, like physically.
No, he did. He did.
Yeah.
He's slimmed down a lot.
Right.
He looks good.
And that goes back.
We saw that with Duke Manyweather too. But
right. I was going to say, but that goes all the way back to the coach that talking about when he was at camp out there with the rookie OTAs or whatever, and said, size, strength, power is all there. It's all there for him. It's just technique and what he can do. Mm-hmm. So very, very intriguing in that front of what he's going to be. And we'll see how it moves forward. It's going to matter for sure. It's going to matter as this thing develops. They get into more training camp days and the pads come on. It's going to matter. Again, the biggest thing for him is what you talked about earlier, if Tyler Badaz can stack those days like he had today, that's going to go a long way for him.
We need him to be ready.
Yes. Mary, we need the center position more than any other. I'll be honest with y'all. I'm just keeping it about with y'all. We need to solidify the center position for everything else to fall in.
He was getting blown up quite a bit last season. Yeah. And we definitely need him to be stronger and better this season.
100.
As we're on the offensive line, there was a comment from Zach Martin said, "Oh, if I retire, my wife would be happy."
Stop playing with me, Zach.
It's out there.
Hey,
it's out
repeat that
there.
again. Side beat to repeat that again.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, if I hung him up, my wife would be happy right now."
Oh.
So, do we think a little projection here? Is that's where Zach Martin's mind is going? Is he crossing over? Because he brought it up, he talked about it. Is it a thought process in his mind? Like maybe this is the last year for Zach Martin, in y'all's opinion? Do you think it's a possibility? Forget it, whether it is or isn't. Do you think it's a possibility,
I think it's more of a possibility than people think. Because I think typically as football fans, we've been conditioned over years and years and years of you play until a certain age or until your skills start falling off the cliff or you start racking up injuries. He has had injuries the last few years, but nothing, dire that's like life-altering or anything like that. But a lot of players now are walking away sooner than they have previously because they've made a lot of money throughout their career. They want to walk away with their health. They don't want to have to be wheelchair bound when they're 50 years old. So I'm not saying he's going to retire, but the idea that he could retire at this point in his career is probably more realistic than what we would have expected maybe 10 years ago. Because again, there's not those key indicators of what you usually would see with diminishing play or diminishing health. He still is playing at a high level and he's still relatively healthy. But if his wife's kind of advocating that to him and he's saying, I've done what I feel like I can do in my career. I've made a good living. I'm in good health. This would be a good time to walk away. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping we make a deep run this year and he wants to run it back until we win, or hopefully we win this year and it's not even a conversation. But yeah, I think it's more realistic than what people are expecting.
Okay. Spoonie, Mary, last year in your mind possibly for Zach?
He'll be 32 before the season's over. Mm-hmm. And football age, that's getting up there. And I could, if it's like Matt said, like he's made a lot of money. He's had a good career. If he feels like he'd rather be at home with his wife, who could blame him? I mean, it's not like, like if we're not going to contend in the next year or two, why stay and put more harm on your body? So I do think it will matter whether we actually contend or not, if he wants to prolong his career.
Yeah, I just think he said on an open mic, I think it matters.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's ignorant to how social media and this thing works, especially in Dallas and how long he's been here. So I think he said it for a reason. I'm just being honest. I would tell everybody in Cowboys Nation, enjoy the next 16 games, 17 games, or regular season and whatever they do after that. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's I think again it goes back to he said it, and we already know when the wife starts pulling on you. Mm-hmm. Hey, that moves you differently. You might want to do some things. Mm-hmm. But when the wife says, hey, big fella, come on home. Come on home. So we have to, take that into consideration. And that puts Dallas, future-wise down the realm. Because, my goodness, if this was it, him and Tyron Smith, it's their last years, well, hey, guys, at the draft next year, we take in the first round? The Cowboys way. Offensive lineman.
Well, there's also the media element of it too, though. That's something we're seeing. A lot of offensive linemen now are getting jobs at ESPN. They're getting jobs as broadcast booth guys. He's a Notre Dame guy. Notre Dame brings in big money. He could be part of the Notre Dame coverage crew. He could get an NFL job potentially. In terms of media, like there's a lot of avenues for him post football that players are seeing now and starting to look into the future more so than before, where they're like, hey, I just got to keep grinding and stacking up money in my account while I can. Now players say, I can make millions of dollars a year not having to go to camp, not having to put my body through this. So again, none of us are saying he's going to, but yeah, it's something to consider.
It was just interesting to me. Out of the different news and nuggets that I heard here and there, I was like, it made me perk. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I want to bring it up here tonight for sure. A little bit of a different take. Now, I do want to get to something that Stephen Jones said on 105.3 The Fan today. Before I get there, though, I want to make sure I've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's for day one camp for y'all. So I want to spin the block here, give you your final word before we get over into this next segment, which is going to be intriguing. I think the chat's going to find it very intriguing. They haven't heard it yet, and I know we're going to feel very indifferent about what we hear. It's going to be a fun segment for sure. Spoonie, put a cap on day one camp for you.
Day one, there was no injuries. Guys were all out there. They were available. There was no holdout. This team is serious. Let's get it for day two tomorrow.
Yeah, real quick. Brian said that the Cowboys signed Cavante Turpin. Hey, man, the only thing I can find currently, I've been kind of researching it back here. I know, Matt, you reach out to some people. They haven't got back to you yet. USFL News, they're not verified. They have over 10,000 people following. They have said it. Outside of them, I can't find anything, to be honest with y'all. So, did anybody get back with you yet on that or no?
The people I asked who work for the Cowboys said, not to their knowledge, they're checking into it. There's been one person, he's a verified, looks like he's a newscaster for some market. I'm not sure where he works out of, but he's the one person that tweeted it, and it's just kind of taken off since then.
Yeah.
They may very well have. If it's a 3-year deal, that would really surprise me.
Yeah, me too. That's what I meant. When he said 3-year deal, I'm like,
Yeah, that's the part that's the unbelievable part.
Like the player himself, it's not on his Instagram, not on his Twitter.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's not true, but you would think that either his agency would tweet it out, which they haven't, or he would tweet it out, which he hasn't, or anybody in the Cowboys media would tweet it out.
Right.
So, I mean, it's 9:35 Central Time right now, so maybe some stuff will come out, but as of right now, there's nothing that we can say.
Full pause. Yeah, full pause for now. I want it to happen. I talked about it before on the show. I would love for it to happen, but currently, put a pin and we'll recircle and see what happens. Mary, your bow on the day one of training camp.
Okay, not to beat a dead horse about the wide receiver thing.
Beat it, Mary, beat it.
There's something that's been in my head that reminds me of last year at the first game of the season. We played Tampa. We played a pretty good game. It was very close. We lost by what, like 6 points? I can't even remember what it is at this point. But we, Greg missed, 3 kicks. And then we find out, oh, he's not healed from his back surgery. They just went into the season knowing damn well he wasn't healed, brought him into this game knowing he wasn't ready, cut a guy that was ready. And then we proceeded to deal with Greg and his issues for the rest of the season. That's what I'm worried about for the Cowboys. Going into this game, like, hopefully Washington will be fine. Hopefully we'll be good with what we have. And then we get there and it's like, ooh, this is kind of scary. And it's like a game that could have been won if you just would have at least tried to really address it before the season started. That's my issue.
10-4. Professor O, your bow on day 1 of camp.
Yeah, so we talked about big dime being something we saw a little bit more of. Another thing I saw in the clips I was able to see is we used a fullback more than I remember using in the past, but it wasn't a fullback. It was Dalton Schultz. But it seems like Kellen might be opening up to that idea more of saying, hey, let's get Zeke a lead blocker and not make it Connor McGovern. Let's make it somebody who can actually get to the second level. So two wrinkles so far early into camp, like super early into camp, that are different from last year that I'm interested in keeping an eye on. So I just want to make sure that it's something that we're not keeping all confidential. Like, hey, did you guys notice this? I want to share with you guys too, so that when you guys are watching any of the live feeds from various markets, whether it's the Cowboys website or you're tuning into any of the content creators out there, keep an eye on stuff like that, because that's stuff that you see worked in now where they're instilling and building into their packages, which you may see later on. So I just thought those were 2 interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, I think, overall, there's some good stuff that you take away. I'm not really down on the negative right now. Let me get my Kool-Aid on here for a second. I'm gonna sip a little bit of Kool-Aid. But the thing about it is day 1 of camp. Like, things are going to happen. I'm a firm believer. I've been a firm believer in this for a very long time, that defenses start quicker than offenses, and then things move forward and we progress. And then about week 2-ish, we kind of see things kind of flip around and see things happen, and pay attention to the news and how it happens, and watch how you see the clips and what's going on and whatnot. The other side to that would be this offense is very much in flux from where it was last year. So they got to find some things about their traction here as they're moving forward. The last thing that I'll say, as we're building and we're footballing, as I tweeted earlier, we're finally footballing. That's where we're at. We're footballing now, which is great. And we can talk about that kind of stuff. I love the potatoes. We've been on potatoes for like 3 months now. We got some meat on the plate now that we can talk about. I want some meat with my potatoes. As I said on the space when taters. I love taters. Dadgummit, I like some steak or some beef or some kind of meat with those taters. I'm watching this one thing, and I saw it enough today. The Diggs Lamb situation and how they compete and push each other, I think pays huge dividends as we go into next season. I really do. They're getting it in. They're getting after each other. They have a great competition in that realm. That's me with the phone alerts. No, it's not my phone alerts. I'm sorry. It's my Facebook that's still open there, Professor, on the private chat. It's gone now. Sorry. But Diggs and Lamb going at each other is man, I like it. I think it pays huge dividends. More so maybe for Lamb than even Diggs right now, because everybody being worried about Lamb. Oh, well, now he's going to see the attention and whatever the case may be. Cool. Guess what? He's going to get to top 5 corner every day. That makes him better. So I'm excited to see how that plays out through the rest of camp. But for
Not
day
according
one,
to PFF.
Yeah, well, Mary, you missed our Freestyle Friday in our space show of we don't talk PFF no more. No, because here's the problem with PFF. People have to cherry pick it to prove their point, and
Of course.
and they hate it when it doesn't prove their point. So guess what? Me personally, y'all can do what y'all want to do. I ain't y'all's daddy, but for me, y'all, if y'all follow me on Twitter, or y'all in any space, anywhere, I don't bring up PFF no more. I'm out.
I'm out
I
too.
pieced on them. I flushed them. Like I flushed my guy text me on Friday. Shut him, I got text, so he's probably in the building.
No
I
more
flushed it.
PFF.
I'm done with PFF. Look, I'm not, and you got little intricacies there. You did some work for them, obviously, and I understand what they're doing. However, I'm just out on it. I like analytics. I like analytics in the right way, and there might be a analytic quarterback rating this year. Little teaser they talk about that we're going to drop over here on Pick Six moving forward, Professor O.
Right.
He's like, yeah, maybe. You don't know.
Yeah,
He's not
maybe.
Sure. Maybe. We'll talk about it later. We have something.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it back in. It still needs to be wrinkled out, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's coming. It's going to happen. And our guy Bruce says PFF deserved to be flushed. Yeah, I'm out on it. I'm out on it. I want to end on this clip because I know it's going to take us a while. I want to get through everything, and let's get to this clip. So I got a clip. I'm going to let it play in its entirety, and then we'll come back in and talk about this. And this was today on the KNC Masterpiece 105.3 The Fan. Where? Hold on. Let me figure out where it's at. I got so much stuff going on the back end. And this is Stephen Jones today, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, winning off seasons have gotten us nowhere. And so, when you say, hey, what are you doing to change? What are you doing to do something different that's going to change the narrative? So when you do get to the playoffs, you do, you're able to have some success. How do you change the narrative that you win some playoff games and you compete for a championship? Well, winning off seasons and getting veteran players, I know there's no question when the Rams step up and do what they did and they win a Super Bowl championship. And, of course, their mantra was, to get some big-name players who did show up for them in the postseason. Then that becomes, hey, look at the Rams. Look at what they did. Everybody needs to emulate it. I mean, it's a copycat league, and people look, well, they're doing it. They won one. Let's do it the way the Rams did it. So I get that. I understand our fans and what we're doing here. It's certainly not a flashy, sexy way we went about it this offseason, but we feel really good that the results are going to be much better.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And my guy Bruce automatically, he couldn't even let the clip finish. Says, oh, that pisses me off. When was the last time Dallas had a winning offseason? That's fair. Duly noted, if you will. Mary, you heard Steven? Mary's rocking.
I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous to me because he's making it seem like it has to be all or nothing. Like, you don't have to sign every big free agency in the offseason, but it would be nice if you would fill holes in the offseason that you have, instead of going into every offseason saying that someone's not a scheme fit. Like, Ndamukong Suh's not a scheme fit, like stuff like that. That's ridiculous. Like, you don't have to sign every big free agent. There's a middle part to it. For you to never do it, for you to ignore holes. How many years have we struggled with stopping the run? Like this year, we're worried about our O-line. We're worried about all our receivers. We're not sure about our linebackers. Like, these are things that you could have made efforts to get a big name guy that has proven that he can do something, but you didn't have to sign everybody. You could have signed somebody. Like, it's just weird to me that
right.
I think it sounds like he's all or nothing. So, and then no matter what happens, he's always going to say, I think we're in a better position. But you said that last year too. So it's like,
right.
Stupid.
Okay. Spoonie? Hey, it's not the sermon time yet, sir. You heard it.
I'm just holding myself in.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones was 26 years old when we won our championships. Didn't even reach the 30s yet. So you was young enough. You was drinking. You was hanging out. You was partying, watching your daddy.
Yeah, push your daddy against the wall when you want to sign Dion. All that stuff.
Yeah,
accosted him. He accosted Jerry.
Yeah, and the thing is this. We all, I'm not a father yet, bless him, but to all the fathers out there, everybody knows that when you have a son, you want the son to grow up and just have something of you. The only thing that Stephen Jones has of his father is his last name. and that is it. No disrespect. That is it. My whole thing is this. If you're going to speak amongst the fan base, especially with guys like explaining how with the other team, they won X, that's the key thing. They're winning. They're winning. We haven't won anything in the last 30-something years. What plan? Your plan has been in the last 7-8 years. We haven't done anything but go to the first round and exit. So sometimes you got to adjust. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and goes, why am I failing? Why am I not doing so good? Maybe it's not the people around me. Maybe it's just me. And this is the point that Stephen Jones don't have. You want accountability on your team, on your roster, but you don't have that.
Exactly. Oh, preach.
You do not have that. 26 years old. When 26. So you were still a young man. You was there early enough to see how the operation goes. Very early. And right now, your father is watching. Anytime you hear jokes about, unlike Jerry, I was happy with free agency, that tells me that Jerry was looking at you like, son, are you for real? Or are we not? Let's be honest. The Randy Gregory situation, that was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And you come on the air and you pull this garbage on the first day of training camp. All Cowboys fans want to do is win. We wanted more than anything. BJ Nixon was in high school the last time we won. I was in high school last time we won.
It was like 10.
Hold on. They were old enough. Spoon. Don't date us like that, Playboy.
No,
Hold
Listen, we are still beautiful and sexy. Don't
come on, man. The beer gang in the building. You feel me? Pull up on me.
We all good looking. We are sexy shit. When it boils down to it, we're tired, Steven. We're tired. We are tired. We're tired of selling. We want to buy. You're selling us garbage. We'd rather you not say nothing. I'd rather hear Jerry talk about things in the 80s or the language that, and laugh about it than to listen to what you're saying. Because basically, you're not giving any hope for the fan base. You're giving us doubt. And we're tired of it. We are so tired. Listen, right. What is Charlotte Jones' title to this? What's her title? Maybe switch. There was a rumor that she was the one who kicked the door down for Steven to sign Dak. We're not even you love your own team, right? You love your guys. But guess what? When we see Michael Parsons and Diggs and Land come up with contract, are we going to see breaking news? They're signed right away without even hearing negotiation. Or are we going to hear the news? Breaking news, they fall apart. Deadline make deals. Deadline does not make deals with your core players. You take care of them right there and there. I'm sorry I took up so much time.
You're good. You're good, bro. Bro, you're good. You're good, bro. You're good. I mean, as Skipper said, man, I couldn't agree more, Spoon. I couldn't agree more. You heard the clip there, and as you and Uba have agreed, the last time that y'all saw the Super Bowl was 8. What do you think, man? Hearing him say that, and I do want to bring this up before you go, real quick, because my guy Eddie O dropped this in here. Says he's not true, Spoon. People bashing Steven like they've been bashing Jerry, but here's the problem: like Steven's really flew underneath the radar. I've been preaching to people, and I went all the way back to, and I've done this since the Johnny Manziel draft. And they didn't take Johnny Manziel. I was like, if y'all think it's out there, it's on record, y'all can go find it. Yeah. I said, if y'all think that Jerry Jones is running this team still, you're foolish. It's Steven. Because if it wasn't Steven, they would have took Johnny Manziel. Period, point blank. So it's been over a decade of Steven really making these moves. He gets bashed, but he gets the pass because a lot of people keep saying Jerry this, Jerry that. Jerry's out here talking about using the M word and getting canceled in that realm and whatever, because he's just a mouthpiece. Yeah. But Steven's the guy that's running the day-to-day. He's a trust fund kid. That's what he is. He doesn't have to take risks. His options is to just secure the money and keep it here. He don't have to do it. He didn't lose the millions like his dad did. But neither here nor there. You heard that from Steven, Professor O. And look, and be clear about Mo. You were just at Cowboys Stadium. Bring your son in the building, going to camps. all those things, and you hear that from Steven. How did it make you feel? Or what are your thoughts? Forget how it made you feel. What are your thoughts?
So why it frustrates me, somebody brought it up in the chat. I apologize. Let me just pull it up really quick so I can give them a little bit of credit, because this is kind of where I was going to with it too.
Give it to me. I got it.
Armchair Champion said the Rams won the offseason last year. They also won the Super Bowl. So
yes.
Steven made, and I'm only bringing this up because this is Steven's words. It's a copycat league. People saw the Rams be aggressive and go after and get players. They showed up in the postseason and helped them win the Super Bowl. The year before that, the Tampa Bay Bucks went out and won the offseason, did the exact same thing. So if it's a copycat league, why don't we try to copycatting what the last two Super Bowl teams did? You don't have to go all in like they did, but to some extent, if you're saying it's a copycat league, teams want to chase what other teams do, we haven't been doing that in a long time. Maybe we should deviate from our own system and say, let's borrow a page from their notebook and see if that helps us. Because as people in the chat mentioned, as people in the panel mentioned, we haven't won the offseason in a long time. That's not how we've operated. We've won the draft. That's what we focus on, and we do good at that. That's our lane. Why don't we try taking another lane, though? Maybe the middle lane's not the best way to get to the Super Bowl. Maybe you should try to get in the fast lane, or maybe try to get in the right lane so you can get off the exit quicker. Whatever it is, we just kind of keep doing the same thing. So it's frustrating to me that Steven would make that comment specifically when the last two Super Bowl teams did that exact same thing and won the Super Bowl. So maybe it doesn't work for us, but why not try? Because we haven't tried that in a long time. We've done things a certain way, the Cowboys way, for a long time, and have not had the results we're looking for. So again, maybe we need to look at that playbook and borrow it from another team and give it a shot, because we have not been aggressive. We have not copied what other teams have done in a long time, and it hasn't helped us to where we want to go. So maybe that's the secret sauce that Jerry's talking about out there. And it's also frustrating, going back to Jerry Jones' comment at his press conference yesterday. He said, we're sitting on this dry powder. We have cap space. But if there were players out there that I thought would help us win, I would go get them. Absolutely false. Because there were players this offseason we talked to that would have helped us win. Exactly. And we said, nope, too much. Sorry, that pie that we're saving, that dry powder we're saving up. So you can't tell me that from Jerry Jones 2 times in a row this offseason. We had money. We could get guys, but we don't think that they'll help us win. And then say, well, we're just not going to do it because other teams do it. So what? We like what we're doing. Cool. I'm glad you guys like it. It's your team, and there's nothing we can do as fans aside from just not go and not support that's going to move the needle. And truthfully, even if we stop doing it, there's so many fans that it doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
So really, if you guys want to win, you probably need to change your approach, because what you've done has built competitive rosters, but it has not built playoff rosters that are competitive. So maybe that's the missing piece. I don't know. But yeah, that comment really frustrated me.
Well, and then of course Stephen Jones said, well, we got a lot, $15 million to practice squad. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? $15 million for the practice squad? Come on, fam.
And it's
come on, fam. $15 million to the practice squad. Come on. Hey,
it's ridiculous.
Hey, between now and tomorrow, let's divvy this up. Let's talk about the last 5. Let's bring up how much the salary cap, the practice squad cost the Cowboys each of the last 5 years. Let's dive into that over the next 24 hours, and let's put that out there against what he said. There's no way it's $15 million. There's no way.
And I mean, even also too, I think fans might even be a little bit more lenient if we were actually at least getting a little further in the playoffs. It's been the same thing for over 20 years, where we're either not making it at all or we're losing in the first round. Maybe we get to the second.
When's the last time we went to the playoffs 2 years in a row?
Exactly. Like it's ridiculous. Like it's different if okay, we're competing legitimately. We're in the NFC Championship. We're just this close. And they think, okay, maybe we just need 1 or 2 little small pieces in the offseason and we'll be good for next year. That might make sense, but it's like we never get close. We don't make the playoffs consistently, and when we do get there, we lose. So it's like you have no reason to feel comfortable with your strategy at all.
Yeah. And even going back to Armchair, I left up here for a while to say this. Not only what they did in the offseason, at the trade deadline. Look what they did at the trade deadline. They added 2 guys. Exactly. Odell Beckham, who did well in the Super Bowl, by the way, and got him there. And the guy that we tried to sign, Von Miller. Okay, and we tried to trade for him as well. We didn't offer enough. Like they were willing to go get those pieces, and that put them over. I think to me the biggest thing about that, exclusively Devon Miller, is we were in the running to go trade for him. We wouldn't go as far as the Rams did to do it. We lost in the first round. Rams won a Super Bowl. Get to the offseason. We offered him the same contract as Randy Gregory. And he's like, yeah, I would have took less, but not that less. You could have just went up a little bit and could have got him. You chose not to. And this idea of winning the offseason, the problem that I believe, me personally, nobody else on this panel or anybody else, the problem that I believe when it comes to Stephen Jones is he wants to do it the Patriots way. That's just how I believe it.
But you don't have a Bill Belichick.
You're not wrong. You're not, Mary, you're not wrong. You're not
go.
wrong. But he wants to do it the Patriots way and the way that they did it. Oh, your quarterback was in the 6th round? Oh, ours was in the 4th round. Oh, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, like these different things or whatever the case may be. And we're not going to pay guys. We're going to be, we're going to hold it down hard, but then you fold anyways. Like he wants to do it the Patriots way. That's the copycat is always talking about copycat league and where we are now with the new CBA and what you can do and how you move. The problem is they're behind the curve. They're thinking about the Patriots way, which since Brady left, you ain't checked, whatever. But I guess what? When we went up there and beat them, I'm sure Steve was just like, ooh, we went over here to New England and won. Oh, we're on the path. Bro, like the Patriots way is done now. Like it's outdated. It's over. Just like the Cowboys way in the early 90s, it's over. I respect everybody that says run the damn ball. Let me be clear. I respect it. Run the damn ball efficiently. Do it the right way.
Yeah.
Matt O, a ton of times on this show and on his Twitter and in his articles has talked about it.
Yeah.
Look at the teams that do. Like the clear balance isn't this 50-50 no more. Right?
Correct.
Matt O, was it 65-35? Is that where we at? Like the championship winners?
Yeah, so what I did was I looked at the last 20 Super Bowl champions and then I cut it down to the last 10 because obviously teams have changed in the league, becoming more pass heavy than ever. If you look at the 10-year average, it's a 57-43 split in terms of pass run. So it's almost 60-40, and the last 3 Super Bowls have been 60-40 or higher. So they're passing the ball more than the running. So there's not a 50-50 split. It's just being able to run efficiently, like you mentioned. So if you run 22 times a game or 28 times a game, great. What's more important is how effective were you on those 22 runs or how effective were you on those 28, the difference in 6. It's not like you can say, well, that 6 run difference is why we lost the game. It's how effective were you on those run plays. I did want to mention, too, to your point, I thought it was great that we do want to copy the Patriots way, but only very specific parts of the Patriots way. Because if you remember that same time frame, they signed Corey Dillon, they signed Chad Johnson, they signed Darrelle Revis. They went after they traded for Randy Moss. Like it didn't work. Not all of those guys helped them win Super Bowls.
Corey Dillon.
Yeah, they were aggressive and went after players. So we only want to borrow certain parts of that. We just want to remix it and say the cheap way works for us and the drafting and building way works for us, but the rest of it, nah, we'll settle on that part.
Yeah.
Facts. Look, and it goes back to like the Packers. They're not big spenders in free agency. Here's what they'll do. Every 3 or 4 years, like, oh, we're going to make a push now, and we're going to do it, right? And that's okay. And it didn't work out for them, right? They sounded the 2 guys on defense, whatever. They made a push. It didn't work. It got them to 2 championship games, but it didn't work. They didn't get over the hump. It is what it is. But everyone, like, you go all the way back to when they added Jabril Peppers. I'm not Jabril Peppers. I'm sorry. Dadgummit. The guy that made a boy fumble.
Yeah.
Him.
Julius.
There you go. The other Peppers.
I knew it was a Peppers.
Yeah, the other Peppers. Yeah, right. And then when won the Super Bowl, who'd they go get? Oh, they went and got Woodson, right? Like they did things at particular times. The Cowboys have not signed a priority free agent, be clear, since 2013 in Brandon Carr. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah. That's almost 10 years. That's 22, 13. We haven't signed a priority free agent. I don't even like the term priority, but a upper scale, if you will, guy that's free. And it was weird because throughout the process we got here, it turned into, oh, well, shout out to Mickey Spagnuolo real quick. Well, I mean, if they're letting him go, why would you sign him? No, they didn't want him. Why would you do it? God. It's a different day and era, though, Mick. It's a different day and era.
Yeah.
Because free agency matters now, and those things matter now. We literally have not went out here and got a prized guy, difference maker, if you will, in free agency since Brandon Carr. But
you know,
that's neither here nor there, though. That's neither here nor there. That's way off the topic from training camp day one. But dadgum, Stephen Jones and that Stephen Jones triggered us.
Yeah, like you don't understand how like my heart was like that's how I was like my blood pressure. Whew, goodness.
Yeah, I know.
Grinch,
I'm like,
Cowboys Grinch.
Stephen Jones told us we are not done with our free agency. Since that time,
he hasn't.
Who have we signed?
The kicker.
We signed the kicker.
Yeah, there you go.
We signed
Hallelujah.
Christian Sam. We signed Malik Jefferson and maybe Kevontae Turpin. That's who we've signed. We're not done with our free agency. Those are the three, maybe a fourth guy that we've brought in since that statement.
Hey, brother.
A backup kicker who's competing for a roster spot, 2 linebackers who are competing for maybe practice squad or fringe roster spot, and possibly a wide receiver we don't know about.
Hey, 15 million to the practice squad. Okay? Be clear. I'm sorry.
Enough.
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, we are sorry. We do apologize. We get in our feels sometimes too.
No, I'm not
it's all
apologizing
time
for this.
level. I'm just saying.
I'm standing my ground. I'm dying on this hill. Okay, cool. So you have $15 million to the practice squad.
Okay.
Don't know how
Go
that's
ahead.
working out, but sure. So that, by my math, leaves us $6 to $7 million that you can go get somebody.
Sure. You could.
Why does he constantly act like the Cowboys are the only ones that have a salary cap? Like, we were the only ones that had to do with COVID.
Mary,
like, we had to.
I got you. Mary, I got you.
Other teams were signing people during
Mary,
COVID. Other people have a lot of practice squad players too.
Yes.
Other people have a cap space too, bro.
No, he is a kid that grew up with money.
Somebody on Twitter said he was born on third base, and that's
yeah. He has one job.
Yeah.
Protect the money, and that's what we're seeing. That's just what we're seeing. It's his job to protect the money.
To me, it's like if you have a corporate accountant or a controller, like your job is not to bring the revenue in, it's to account for the money and allot it where it makes sense. His job should not be to decide who gets what piece of the pie or any of that. His job should be, this is the pie I have to work with. How do I make it work? That's it.
Exactly.
So when you make comments like, well, we have to roll over money because we have guys we have to sign next year. You know what? The Chiefs had to sign who? Who do they have to sign in one offseason, Knicks? Who are the three?
Wait. But they had like less than $100.
Yeah,
and it was Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
All right. It was
$500 million.
Christian Jones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Almost
Patrick
million.
Mahomes, Christian Jones,
and Kelsey.
Yeah.
And you know what they did before that offseason? They didn't worry about saying we have to keep pie. They said we need a safety. Let's go out and get Honey Badger.
Exactly.
They didn't say we have to save this money for next year. We have our franchise quarterback, a top defensive tackle, and a top 3 tight end in the league. We have to spend money on. They said we'll worry about that next offseason. Let's win now. Next offseason, we'll make moves. We'll restructure. We'll extend and do what we need to do to make that pie work. That's how organizations should move. You got to be agile and adaptable. You can't say, well, we only have this much to work with, because we all know that the roster right now will not be the same next year. There will be players that they cut, right? Because last year we were looking at cap space saying we have Amari Cooper. He's going to count for $20 million of it. We know we're going to bring Randy Gregory back. We're going to do this with Collins is under contract. And then $30 million between Cooper and Collins suddenly isn't there because we moved on from them. And you're going to have players that you're like, you know what? They're out doing their contract right now. Let's extend them. Let's lower their cap now. We'll worry about that money down the road. Like, there's things you can do to make cap work. It's fluid. So to me, it's frustrating to hear Stephen Jones, whose sole job is to manage that, to make these comments. Like, you know, we can only use so much of it because we have to roll this in next year. No, you don't. Other teams don't do it. You don't have to do that. The Eagles were $100 million over the cap 2 years ago. Still signed players.
The Rams at one point were
super over $100 million over the cap. Still made it work. They said, hey, Drew Brees, we need you to rework your contract. Hey, we need you to extend your deal so that we can lower your cap hit. Like, it's just frustrating. I'm not trying to say that I would be better at managing the cap than Stephen Jones, but I feel like I would be. And I know that a lot of people feel that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, we as fans always are like, well, I wouldn't have made that play call. Cool, we're armchair quarterbacks, right?
Sure.
This one thing, I would not I wouldn't hold a lot of our fans out. I'm like, you probably could do a better job of managing the cap. It's frustrating for me because they make it clear what their intent is repeatedly on a week-by-week basis. It's not like they say it one time in the offseason and we're overhyping it. This is something they push to us.
They chose to say it. Yeah, they chose to say it.
Yeah.
And here's the frustrating thing about it. I could go to a different era, right? I can go to the Romo era. I can. We're literally doing the same shit right now.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. I mean, right? I mean, that's not cap. That's not being. I don't think it's a splash to say this, right? Romo was good enough to get over the hump, right? You had the Wittens of the world, the Wares of the world, right? I mean, we got to talk about these guys that are there, and what it meant, with the dances of the world, whatever the case may be, and it got flushed. It was wasted. Mm-hmm. And here we are now. Fast forward to 7 years later, in the Zigs of the world, the Dax of the world, the Lambs of the world, the Parsons, D-Laws of the world, whatever the case may be, it's the same thing. In the realm that they do, because they never completely rebuild. They just retool on the fly, but they never. And Spoonie, we talked about this year one. I said, man, I just want to see them push the chips to the middle of the table. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I haven't seen, as we're into year 4 now, year 1, I said, I just want to see them to push them chips all the way in. Mm-hmm. And they just don't do it. And it's okay. Like, you can here's the thing about it. And I guess what they don't understand is push them in. If it doesn't work, guess what? Cowboys Nation is going to be completely fine. It's like, well, hell, at least you tried.
Exactly.
We'll buy the try. Like, we show up anyways. You're the number 1 rated major league team in the whole wide world, the whole time. Imagine if you won, what the money's going to look like. But we got the trust fund. But we got the trust fund kid in Stephen Jones, who put his daddy up against the wall trying to sign Dion. If it wasn't for Jerry, Dion doesn't get signed, and we don't get the 3rd championship in 4 years. And that's the epitome of where we're at now. Stephen putting Jerry against the wall, don't sign Dion, is exactly where we are right now and how Stephen runs this thing. Hate to do this on training camp day 1 because I want to be excited, because I am excited. But that damn clip that we showed earlier with him talking about
it's triggering.
Bro, winning the offseason. The Cowboys ain't won the offseason in over a damn decade. Let's be clear.
I mean, okay, I'm going to just say
go ahead, Mary.
One more thing. Like, for example, after that Rams playoff game, we got ran over by
sure, Butterball CJ Anderson.
Yeah, he's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
They brought him off the street.
Yeah, he came off the street, ran for like 236 yards, and then disappeared.
Yeah, Todd Gurley was hobbled. He still ran on us a little bit. Like, that was an off season where I was like, okay, clearly we've recognized an issue, even if they could kind of mask it a little in the regular season. This playoff game should have showed them, okay, we really need to invest in a proven run stopper. And it was like, okay, maybe if they do that one thing, that'll help our defense, that we can get back to, further in the playoffs. Did they do that? Did they even try? No.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just one example. And fans would have been really happy if they would have made an effort to get somebody that was worth getting for that position, because we would have been like, okay, they're trying, and they realized that's a weakness, and this guy is a proven guy at that place, so boom. True. No, they just ignored it.
True story. I mean, hey, whenever the Honey Badger was available, I mean, your GM, de facto GM, Steven said, not a scheme fit. Not a scheme fit. Go ahead, Professor O. Go ahead, Professor O.
So maybe this is not the right time to bring this up, but I do want to. I do want to do this because Jerry had a comment.
Hold on, wait. He wants to do it. You know what we got to do? He said, "Hey, so I want to do it." You know what? Solo layout. Go ahead there. Oh.
So, thank you. Beautiful scenery out here at Oxnard. Excited to be here. 60 degree
like
temperature.
70 degrees.
Good, everything's great right now. So Jerry made another comment that a lot of people took issue with. I don't know that I actually disagree with him on this one, so I want to push this to the panel in the chat. So Jerry Jones said, in quick precedence here, he said, I've thought this the last 2 years, but Jerry Jones said, I feel better about the Cowboys team now than I did last year heading into the season. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. And if you want, I'll go first and lay it out there my
No,
thoughts, or if you want to save
hold
it.
it, because we actually brought that up in the space, Spoon. We talked about that. Well, not today. I guess it was on the space I did yesterday. I think actually brought that question up about that, and I thought it was very intriguing because the idea is, are the Cowboys, and this was and it was brought up before the first practice. The Cowboys right now in 22, the day before training camp versus last year, the day before training camp. Are you a buyer in the team more now than you were last year? Great question. Way to bring that around town there. Oh, you brought the question? By all means, walk through the door, sir.
All right.
Solo layout.
I don't need a solo for this. So when I heard him say that, my first thought was, but how? Because I'm thinking our offensive line, I definitely don't feel better about now than I did last year. And then I'm thinking our wide receiver room, I don't feel better about them right now than I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also saying last year going into the season, we really didn't know what our defense was going to be. Last year we were talking about saying if our defense can just be 18th overall with our offense, we're going to be a playoff contender. And they weren't 18th. They were really good. We have 2 all-pros on our defense that we now know that we did not know we had any all-pros on the defense last year. So that in and of itself, yeah, I feel much better about the defense this year than I did last year. And then when I'm looking at the offense, it's easy to say, well, our offense I don't feel as confident about. But Zeke's healthy now. And when Zeke was healthy last year, our run game looked good. Tony Pollard's healthy now. And when he was healthy last year, our run game looked good. And more importantly, Dak Prescott's healthy now. And last year, this time, he wasn't. So if I'm saying our defense is not only better than what I expected going into the year last year, but significantly better, I buy that. Dak Prescott being healthy, I think matters more than our wide receiver room not being healthy right now. And Dak Prescott being healthy with Zeke being healthy, I think matters more than our offensive line not being where I would like it to be right now. So when he first said it, I kind of thought it was ridiculous, and I just laughed like Jerry just being Jerry. But the more I digest it, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't either, because actually I agree with it. I'll actually step on it, and I'll plant the flag. I agree with it because we were literally coming off the worst defense that we've had in the Cowboys' history. Not only the worst defense the Cowboys had in history, it was an all-time NFL-style worst defense that we had. Correct. We don't have to worry about that right now. That's a huge jump from last year. Again, it's easy to think about what happened, and we know what happened, and we're talking about it right now. But if we go back to we did know what the team was going to be last year versus now, no, obviously the defense is way better. We understand, and we talked about this a ton. Like last year, going into camp, I said it was a 10-17. Let me see how the defense comes around. We did the show, boom, 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 boom. I think I saw enough from the defense. I think we're an 11-win team that turned into a 12-win team. Right. I'm the same point right now to a certain extent. I'm like, it's a 10-win team. Let me see how the offensive line comes together, and I'll kind of move my goalposts on that. The thing is, the defense is much more better and ready to rock right now. I believe that. On the second side of things, I don't like the fact that what happened on with Cooper, and more importantly, and Mary, you brought this up earlier about Cedric Wilson being out of the building. I don't like that. But what you said, matters a ton to me. Dak Prescott's A1 in a full year removed away from the catastrophic injury that he had, and I'm buying for. I think Ford's about to have the best year of his career, period. And I'll break that down later, but I think it's going to happen. So, yeah, Schultz is back. I think the tight end, too, is going to be better outside of Jarwin because Jarwin can stay healthy. So, I'm okay. Like, yes, I need to see the offensive line come together for sure. I'm not tripping on that. But offensive line versus a whole defense on the scale, it's only 5 guys versus 11 guys. That matters. So to me, I'm buying it. I'm buying currently. Doesn't mean like how they're going to play and what happens and all that. And are they going to a Super Bowl? That's not what I'm saying. What I do believe is this. Yes, before camp last year and camp before this year, yes, I'm buying it is better, but there's issues just like there were last year. What? Spoon, Mary? Who's next? Go ahead. Mary's selling. She objects.
No, I don't fully object. I agree with both of your points. We did have huge questions about the defense. That's certainly the least of our worries right now, even though there's still a few concerns there. I agree. Dak Prescott's healthy. I agree about Zeke and Pollard. We're more confident in Dalton Schultz, obviously. So I agree basically on those things. But I don't think we can adequately say that they are better right now. The team is better as a whole. No, I don't think we can say that. Because better means better. We think they can really take the next step. We don't have really any proof to know. At best, I feel like they're the same, which is not enough for me. That's not good enough because you've had a long time, at least since January, to figure this out. And I don't think they made a big enough effort to do that. And I need to see proof that what they're saying is true. So no, it's not better. At best, it's about the same, in my opinion. At best.
Okay, the same.
And that's not saying much, in my opinion, because we play our division, who we all agree is weak.
Right.
6 games, that's 6 wins, basically. If we're saying like last year, 6 wins.
Right.
So if that was half of our record last year, if we win 10 games this year, that's over half. It's not a big deal to beat them.
But again, DA, it's not about selling. And thank you for going from Facebook to YouTube. Drop the fire emojis from my guy DA. He's on YouTube now. Selling that hope as usual. It's not hope. We didn't say, nobody here said, oh, well, this seems so much better. They're going to do better than last year. We're just talking about contextually before camp started last year versus where camp's at this year. Okay. This team is, to me, Mary says push, which is very fair. Yeah. Which is very fair in the push because it was defense versus O-line this year, in my opinion. But with that being said, it's not hope for the season. We're just talking about on the outset.
I mean, I get that. I'm just saying.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Because a lot of fans associate.
Right. I'm just giving DA came in through with selling the hope as usual. Me and O are not selling hope. We're just talking about at the particular time, contextually, right now, as before camp starts. Is the team better or worse than last year? Last year, nobody knew who Jaron Curse is, and most people thought Jaron Curse was a camp body and gone. Carlos Watkins as well. And I could go through I could run down a whole bunch of names. And now Mr. Green Dot's in the building, and everybody's super excited that he's back in Jaron Curse. And Malik Hooker being better in a different position now and whatnot. So there's
we didn't even have Malik Hooker at this point last year. Like that, that's we brought him in after this time. So Jerry's comment of saying right now versus last year, again, I think it's one of those things that people immediately push back on, but the defensive line, I think almost all Cowboys fans will agree. I feel better about the defensive line this year than last year.
Yes.
Last year, we knew we had Micah Parsons, who was a freak, but we didn't know he was all-pro caliber freak Micah Parsons. The only guy we don't have back really, well, Keanu Neal, I don't think any Cowboys fans miss him, and Jalen Smith, which, again, Cowboys fans don't miss. Yeah. I'm a very measured, factual. I'm not impulsive or super emotional the way I look at things. But if I'm looking at it, just the data, our cornerbacks, I feel better about this year than last year. Because last year we were like, are we really going to roll out Anthony Brown? There's no way he's a starting caliber cornerback. And he went out there and looked pretty good. Our safety room right now is significantly better than what we were at this same point last year. Our defensive line is better. We know Pollard now is a dynamic weapon where we hoped he'd be a dynamic weapon going into last year. And I think that's a big part that people leave out. We know that Zeke's healthy, which he was healthy last year. So we'll say push there. But the running back room as a whole, you have to feel better about knowing we have Pollard there in the wings. And Rico back. So yes, offensive line, I'm worried about that. Wide receiver room, I'm worried about that. But there's more positions right now that I feel better about going into the year this year than I did last year. So, hate to buy anything Steven's selling or Jerry's selling, but that one I'm like, I see where you're looking at.
The same.
Here's the thing: if you want to buy anything, buy from Jerry, not Steven. That's all I'm saying at this point. Spoonie,
Yes,
if you want to, I got two. I got the red pill and the blue pill for you here. Okay, I got the red pill and the blue pill. Are you ready for the sermon, or do you want to touch our topic before you get to the sermon? But which way you want to rock?
It's up to the fans.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's throw it to the fans real quick.
Yeah.
Y'all want to hear Spoonie speak about what we just talked about? Are y'all ready for Spoonie's sermon? Drop it in the comment section. Y'all want Spoonie to expand? Are y'all ready for the sermon? Expand or sermon? That's the two things you drop. What do y'all want to see right now? If y'all missed the sermon last week, all timer, for sure, all timer. With that being said, what does the chat want? For everybody rocking with us, we're hitting the hour and 50-minute point here. We're about to get up out of here. What do y'all want? Y'all want to see the Spoonie sermon real quick, or y'all want to see him?
Unleash the Spoonie.
Unleash. We got the we got the sermon. We got the sermon. All right. Well, Spoonie, as an analyst, I'm sure you probably want to speak on that. You know,
I mean, it is.
Bruce says let Bruce get ready. Let him turn down his AirPods real quick, or whatever his earbuds are. I don't know what he has. Mendoza says, hey man, all right, okay, all right, fair enough. All right, hold on real quick. Yeah, the collection plate's about to happen here. It's about to happen. Let me get to the right. Man, I can't just let my guy get out here. I can't. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all missed it last week, you're in tune this week. You're in tune this week. Oh, the Armchair says that's what he's been. Man, been waiting for one. Armchair, dial up last week's episode. Fire if you happen to miss it.
It was crazy.
yeah, fire if you happen to miss it. All right. With that being said, we're
ready for you, Spoonie.
Spoonie, you ready?
Yes, sir.
You only get one shot. Hold on, let me get my 8 Mile on. Mom spaghetti. The whole
real quick before you do that, because
Yeah.
we've been waiting all night for confirmation. Yes. Again, the source that's out there, Mike Fisher, Fish Sports says, Scoop, team source tells me the Cowboys plan to sign USFL MVP Kevontae Turpin. Should be happening now here in Oxnard. So,
okay.
That's something.
We'll see. Yeah, it's out there. Again, for me, is it a 1-year deal or is it the 3-year deal? To me,
sounds weird.
Makes us have to talk about something extra there. So we'll wait and see. Great follow up there. They're at the very end. Spoonie. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I messed up here. Hold on. There it is. I got Spoonie's sermon up there. We're ready to go. We're ready to rock. All right, Spoonie. It's all on you, brother.
Cowboy Nation. When we was kids, right, and we saw cartoon garbage, it was green. Oscar the Grouch, Sesame Street, he was green. The Toxic Avenger, garbage, green. So I'm going to show you another example of garbage today from the NFC East right here.
Oh, we're gonna get so much heat for this.
Really? What are they doing?
Now, as Cowboy players today, while we was at camp, strapping it up, going head to head, blood, sweat, and tears, that same garbage team that claims to be the new division champs going forward are out there posing, acting like y'all boxers. First of all, you're not boxers. You're actors. You're actresses. Understand that. You're not men. And I don't mean in a more disrespectful way. You don't belong in this game. Understand that right there, Philadelphia Eagles fans. You want to sit there and pride your team about what they're going to do while we strapping it up. Y'all making commercials acting like as y'all boxers. Y'all amateurs. Y'all don't belong in the same division as us. And I'm telling you guys, just like this right here, the very same thing that we saw, the same thing we're talking about as far as the defense. We hunting.
Oh.
Bird hunting.
Yes.
Oh.
Bird hunt.
Oh.
Understand what I'm saying.
Cowboy Nation, the exact same thing that we did today. We stood on social media. We supported our team. We talked about our team. We loved every minute of our team. That trash, that green garbage trash, was right there posing and acting. Cowboy Nation. See, we're not done yet. We're just getting started. Even after this show right here, we have our sister, our Cowboy sister, Miss Ashley Baker. She's hosting an NFC East space chat. NFC East. And I'm telling you this right here. After this show, we go up in that motherfucker and we're gonna wreck shit. We're gonna make sure. And I apologize for the cussing, y'all. I really, really do. But damn it, they took me there.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
Stephen Jones kind of took his
representing the NFC East chat tonight, y'all.
That's a Big Ten for Spoon. Spoonie Sermon, number 2 of the year. We're gonna keep it count. We got number 2 of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, look, he really let us out the right way, and then he really got to these Eagles. That's okay. I like it. It's fine. I love it.
That was 3 minutes, 3:39.
That's good for Spoon. That's good for Spoon.
Really good.
Yeah, that's good. Look, that's good for Spoon. I like it. Real quick, last note before we get out of here. I'm going to take the credit here because the Cowboys, the NFL kind of fumbled a little bit, and they kind of put out 2 different helmets for the Cowboys. I was like, that's interesting. So we have the Thanksgiving Day bringing those back with the blue star or whatnot. But the Cowboys have a second alternate helmet. They have 3 helmets this year. And it's white. It is the blue star, but it has the outline of the blue and some stripes, some different things. For somebody like me who plays a lot of Madden, I've been doing this with our color rushes forever. Anytime I play Madden with the color rushes, I'm like, oh yeah, I want the white helmet. Let me get that. The Cowboys are doing that this year. In case y'all haven't learned or y'all heard about it yet or you haven't seen it, they do have 3 helmets that they're going to wear this year, and they have a special helmet for the throwbacks on Thanksgiving, and they also have for the color rush. They have that one as well. So, we can't do much here. We can't do much. I know you're trying to get the seafoam out of here. That's okay. We can't get the blue on blues. Certain things that we can't do. But not true, TC. I'm about to get out of here right now. You shut your hole. My guy Spoonie just said we're going to Ashley Baker's NFC East space as soon as we're up out of here. Okay. But yeah, 3 helmets. I mean, look, it don't take much for me in any diversion of our uniform to get me excited. I'm excited about the color rush with the white helmets. Oh, I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, I love it. No, I absolutely love it. So when I first saw it, I was thinking, oh, no, they had it mistaken. They're just looking at our throwback helmet and put it in both categories. And then I took a look at it. The throwback helmet has a gray face mask. This has a white face mask.
White face. Let's go.
Throwback helmet has a navy blue star. This has a navy blue star with the outline around it. It just looks clean. Like when you see it, it looks nice. It's a good looking helmet. I'm hoping that they wear it with the color rush uniforms like Nick's mentioned. Just that combination of the white pants with the navy blue stripes, white jersey, navy blue numbers, navy blue sleeves, white helmet. It would just look so clean. So I'm hoping that's the game.
I'm excited for it.
it.
And Robert,
for those who don't know,
I like the red stripe. I don't care.
Yeah. No, that red stripe. Our season went downhill from that moment. That was like the worst thing.
Whatever. No,
I don't care what they wear. I just want them to win.
Oh, let's go, Mary. Mary.
It means we can get a Super Bowl. Put on the seafoam. Put on whatever if it means we're going to win. I don't care. Just.
With that being said, as we're wrapping up here, we're going to get up out of here. We're hitting the 2-hour mark. We appreciate everybody that came through and rock with us tonight. As always, y'all know the drill. Grow the Pick Six fam. Man, share it out there. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. It's free 99. Okay? Free 99 to get out here and grow this thing up here. Freestyle Friday. Y'all know the drill. Friday, 7:30 p.m. Central, we do the Cowboys Happy Hour space. We backdoor here at 9:30 p.m. Central for the Freestyle Friday. Can we tease our guest that we have this week, or you wanna cuff it? What do you want to do, O?
We'll hold on to it for a little bit.
Okay, well, we got a guest coming. We'll hold it. We'll hold it for now. Well, okay. If it's 2, you gotta give at least a hint to one of them.
No, we'll announce it tomorrow.
The tease. The tease. I like it. But we got some guests. I mean, if y'all missed the previous Freestyle Friday shows, we've had Big Game James, we've had Vosh Lombardi in the building. Jay
J
Tuck's
Tuck.
been in the building. We've had a lot of different Aisha. We've had a great amount of people. Maybe going up a little bit. We'll see what happens. We got some things in the cooker, in the slow cooker. You heard me? Well, we got some things popping. So the Freestyle Friday show is going to be awesome. Make sure y'all come through. With that being said, last word. I mean, I'm ready to go. I gotta go to Aisha's, not Aisha's, but Ashley. Spoonie, you come over to Ashley's space with me?
Oh yeah, I'm going over there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fire. I'm telling y'all now. Was it Sports After Dark? Yeah, I mean, it's about to go down. It's going to be fun over that side.
Yeah.
That part. I just did the show with Law Nation. He'll be here. Okay. No hints. No hints. I'm sorry. Robert almost got me to give away a hint. I'm not doing that. Last word, Mary.
Oh, let's go Cowboys.
Okay. Day one, very, very. Let's go Cowboys. Also, super show has to be for the female creators in this space. Mary's going to be a part of that. We're going to work that on the back end too. Professor O, last word before we get out of here for you.
I'm just happy Cowboys football's back. It's nice seeing the guys in action. Dak looks great. Tyler Smith looks like he's in incredible shape physically.
Best shape of their life. Everybody. Best shape of their life.
In the best shape of their life. We didn't see any major injuries so far, which is always a great thing. So, yeah. I blame you.
Spoonie. Last word for you.
Listen, we're gonna have fun. Fun is just beginning. Thanks for everybody for supporting us. Up here in Pick Sports. We're gonna dominate, celebrate, and go all the way.
Oh, thank you.
Spoonie, you need to bring it back. You had something last year. What was it? A dominate, whatever. So what was that? What was that? What was
dominate,
that called?
Celebrate.
What was it? Yeah, how did it go? No, it wasn't. There was
a third thing.
There was a third thing in there. It was like, yeah, Spoonie, you gotta dial that up to the old shows. Bring that back. Yeah, you gotta dial that back. That was great.
That was,
yeah. That vibe was really good. With that being said, you already know what the business is. Every Wednesday during camp, 8:30 p.m. Central, come through. Fridays, Cowboys Happy Hour space, and then of course the Freestyle Friday show where we bring it over here and make it be what it is. Oh, Nick's being the Jerry. He slipped. Oh, no, shut up. We're out. Peace. On that note, bye.